What's up guys, I'm Shane and this is Spare Change. Here on the channel, we discuss all things audio and video, like new movies and new AV equipment. So if it's your first time here, consider tapping that subscribe button for new weekly videos. In for review, we've got Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker on 4K Blu-ray. I won't be reviewing the movie itself, I'm just going to share with you my thoughts on the video and the audio quality. Now for a few tech specs. The movie was shot on 35mm. It's got a 4K DI. It's rated PG-13. Runtime is 142 minutes. Aspect ratio is 239:1, so you will have those black letterbox bars. Now, like I mentioned in the digital review, I thought visually this looked more like The Force Awakens rather than The Last Jedi, so you won't get those raised black levels. Blacks are actually black in this. And speaking of black levels and shadow detail, I'd say it was a notch better than the digital stream. Blacks are more solid, although they don't appear to be the deepest blacks that I've ever seen. I'd say they're a touch on the light side rather than the dark side. Still, it's got great contrast throughout and it does heighten the image depth. The rest of the color palette is much like The Force Awakens. It's not full of crazy colors, but I thought the use of HDR really made those primary colors pop. Brightness-wise, the image remained bright throughout the entire time, rather than being dim like you'll find on certain 4K transfers. As for those spectral highlights in Chapter 39, you'll be grabbing those sunglasses when the electricity is flying out of the Emperor's fingers. Explosions, blaster fire, and lightsaber battles jump right off the screen. Let me just mention that the physical disc is only HDR10, while the digital stream is available in Dolby Vision. There's not much of a difference between this and the stream color-wise, but overall clarity does tighten up a bit. Keep in mind, like The Force Awakens, there will be a noticeable amount of film grain, so if you're a grain hater, then you likely won't enjoy the visuals. Still, there is some great detail in this movie. Close-up shots aren't going to be digitally clean, but you'll still see things like wrinkles and pores and all that good stuff. All the practical effects, like all the creatures and the set pieces, looked fantastic with the nicely rendered textures.
I knew it!
No, you did not.
Audio is in Dolby Atmos, and I found the mix to be a little better than the digital stream. I did compare it to The Last Jedi, and volume-wise, they seem to be about the same. I popped in Godzilla King of the Monsters afterwards, and Skywalker is a few dB lower. That being said, once you bump up the volume, there is a touch more clarity up top if you're coming from the digital stream. I noticed when the Sith were chanting in Chapter 35, there was more presence in my surround channels. On the digital stream, it was harder to tell. Overhead effects and panning effects in Chapter 33's battle was also improved when the lasers and ships would fly between the speakers. As for bass response, there are some demo-worthy scenes. The ocean battle in Chapter 28 is one of the standouts here. When those waves come crashing down, you'll get a nice little body massage. When Rey or Kylo uses the Force, you'll feel the entire room shake with some really good infrasonics. The way the lightsabers crackle and clash into each other is probably the best I've ever heard them sound. Bass hits hard and digs really low. Soundstage was big and cinematic, and the real star of this mix, the musical score. It sounded fantastic. So for audio, I'm gonna go with an 8.9. It's cleaner than its digital stream counterpart, and there's some demo-worthy bass and clean surround effects. I still feel it's a little dynamically compressed, but overall, this is one of the better sounding Star Wars movies. For video, I'm gonna go with an 8.5. I thought HDR was great with some eye-popping highlights and tons of detailed textures. Grain structure is more tighter and more stable than the digital stream, which makes this the best way to watch it. So those are my thoughts on this 4K transfer. Have you seen it, and how do you think it stacks up against the previous movies? Leave a comment and let us know. Well, if you want to grab this movie, I'll leave some links for it down below in the video's description. As always guys, thanks for watching. If you want, you can follow us on social media, and if you want to support the channel and get exclusive content and great discounts on audio and video gear, then swing by our Patreon page. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys again in the next one.